5 simple Maffetone method tips to improve your running. If you're anything like me, I've been using the Maffetone method to be able to run faster using a low heart rate over the last number of years. And in that time, I've learned a lot of different things to help the improvement come faster. And when I was training for my ultra marathon, there was a few that kind of really made an impact. And being in the trail is one of those places. Now, you can also get a couple of benefits. Well, you can get a lot of benefits from the road, but today I'm talking about my experience running in the trails to improve my Maffetone method time. Number 1, leg strength. If someone told me that you could not go to the gym and build up muscle just by running up hills, I would have thought, like, are you crazy? I gotta go to the gym and do that. But look, hear me out, right? Leg strength is important, right? Like, you are building strength by running up these big hills, right? If you're in the mountains, then you're running up the mountains, right? You get a lot of strength training just by doing that, but you're also dealing with pushing your running power to a limit. And if you're training by power, that's another metric that you can use to see your improvements. If you want to be able to run longer and faster at a low heart rate, running on the trails, running on the hills is significantly going to make a big impact with your endurance. You are building up your aerobic base, you are pushing your cardiovascular system to places that it may have never been, and you're going to be able to run longer, right? These sessions on the trails are paramount for me, that I found, to go those longer distances, to build that great endurance, to be able to endure and go over the hills, to go over the mountains, whatever it is that you're training for. There are times in your training that you need to change it up. Not running slow all the time. You need to add some other things. That will actually skyrocket your heart rate training to new levels. Hill training is speed work in disguise. It's so good for you. Hill repeats, speed work, yeah, they go hand in hand. And they are so helpful to improve your Maffetone training. So let's talk about, over the years, I've tried a number of things to improve my Maffetone pace. And one thing that it kind of stands out is hill training. Hill training is awesome. It's so good for you. And I'm going to continue to do hill training because I do know that it pays dividends in your running. And specifically, if you're MAF training, you will see benefits. Technique. Running on the hills really teaches you a lot about technique, about running form, about shortening down your stride and increasing your cadence while you're running uphill. It helps you improve your form significantly because, look, I know I don't have the greatest form out of all the runners that I've seen out there. You're getting quicker turnover pace when you're specifically dealing with rocks and roots and going up the hill. It's kind of a challenge to have like a long stride when you're dealing with like these technical, rocky, rooty, uphill trails. I would say mental toughness is paramount because when you're on the trail, you're having to learn to figure things out on the run. You're pushing discomfort. It is not always comfortable to run on the trail and be able to encounter some of the obstacles that you have to deal with. When you're road running, you're dealing with the road. You may be dealing with a car driving by, or if you're through a neighborhood, you're running on the street, maybe you gotta watch out for dogs. But when you're in the forest, when you are on a trail, man, there's like, could be coyotes, there could be bears, there could be mountain lions, there could be all of these crazy experiences that you may have out there. You know, being able to push up these bigger mountains, it gets tough and it's hard, and you have to find that second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. You got to find all the gears that are going to be able to help you propel your way to the end of your run. And it's hard. It's not always fun when the temperature is rising and it's crazy hot. And it's not always easy when it's the winter time and you got to trudge through all of the snow, because all you worry about is what happens if I like hurt my ankle and I'm out here and I have to like get back to the car and I'm like 10 miles away, right? And it's cold, right? Because you know what it's like when you stop running. That happened to me, right? It happened to me many times where I had to turn around and find my way back, and I was really, really cold by the time I got back. So you have to be mentally prepared. You have to prepare with clothing that is gonna fit what you're doing. This is hard. But again, it's the pushing through those barriers that really makes me a better runner. And this one is important to me, and it's injury prevention. When you're running on a trail, there's, like I said before, lots of rocks and roots, and your proprioception on what you're stepping on, you're activating different muscles. So many different things are changing from one section of the trail to the other section of the trail. Now, when I turn around and say how this helps your Maffetone training, look, the Maffetone method is a lifestyle, right? It's not just a formula, 180 minus your age. It is a lifestyle. It points out things in your training that could be improved, right? Specifically diet, specifically how we train, how fast we run. What kind of fuel burner are you? Are you a sugar burner or are you a fat burner? What kind of intolerance do you have for foods, right? Do you have an insulin resistance, right? Find out all of these things. So the Maffetone method is so much more than just 180 minus your age. So to take on this beast of the Maffetone method, you need to understand why you're gonna do it, what kind of benefits you think you're going to receive from it, and give it a timeline as to how long you're gonna train. My thought is include trail running if you have a trail around you. First off, it's gonna be great to be out here. Second off, you're gonna see some really cool nature, right? You may stop, get some pictures. Third, you're going to build yourself a stronger foundation when you're dealing with the obstacles that you're gonna deal with when you're out here. And the other thing is you don't have to worry about what pace you're running kilometer after kilometer. You can just run, keep it at a low heart rate, walk up the hills, run down the hills, and if the flats are too hard to run, then just hike them. Whatever it is, it kind of takes the social pressure off of looking at your watch all the time, right? Just making sure that you keep it in that zone. I find when I would train for my ultra marathon, this was something that really made a big difference, and it allowed my brain to not worry and not freak out that, you know, oh my gosh, my heart rate's really high. Once I was on the trail, it was a totally different experience, a lot more relaxed. Yeah, you got to pay attention to the rocks and roots, and you know, so you just don't go flying like I did a couple of weeks ago, where I fell like 3 times, and then, you know, a couple of days later, I fell another couple of times. But again, it's just something that we have to deal with runners specifically, or if you're trail runners, and you guys are it's no secret to when it comes to this, right? Don't be ashamed to hike up the hills. God, this is so helpful. Getting the elevation in. Man, I can just feel the muscles. They're burning right now. But it's okay. Heart rate's a little high. It's okay, it'll come back down. Oh my gosh. I can't tell you how many times I've tripped over those. Too many to count. Pick your feet up, Dave. Pick your feet up. One of the challenges about running on trails, or even running in general, you know, when it gets cooler, is my eyes start to water a lot. And when it does that, all of a sudden I can't see. I think leg strength, endurance, technique, mental fatigue, and injury prevention are things that running on the trails can really help in your Maffetone method. And, you know, basically running up a hill also, you know, it's heart rate training in disguise, really. It's good for your heart, it's good for you, and it's good for endurance. So that would be something that I would consider if you were going to be doing this whole Maffetone method. Now, one of the things that I think could help, specifically if you're dealing with food and diet and whatnot, is this video right here. Have a good one, and like I always say, get out and run.
I really wanted to get it right, trying to find some balance in